Alright, welcome back. I'm here with another replay as Tzeentch. This will probably be my last match as Tzeentch, and I'll move on and start working on another faction. But for this one, I am matched up against Bretonnia on Arnheim. And I just wanted to bring, mostly spear units, mostly anti-large units. I knew that there was probably going to be a lot of frontline. When I was picking my troops, I was not expecting trebuchets. I'm not sure why. I guess that was probably a safe bet given how open this map is on the right side. But because of that, I did not bring Furies or any good backline pressure troops. So what I've got here is 2 Marauders of Tzeentch with spears, 2 Chaos Warriors with halberds, the Weird Spawn, and then a group of standard Spawn of Tzeentch. Got a Soul Grinder and Vilich the Curseling. So I was really thinking, a lot of spears and halberd units for anti-large. The Soul Grinder has anti-large and armor piercing, which will be good to deal with some of the knights. And then the Chaos Spawn will be good for clearing out infantry. Now for my opponent, he has got 1, 2, 3 squads of spearmen at arms. Actually, he's got 4 squads of men-at-arms with pole arms. He's got Knights of the Realm, triple field trebuchets, and King Leoncoeur, I guess that's how you pronounce it, along with a Grell Relique. And this is something that I don't know what it does, honestly. So it's got physical resistance, it gives leadership and immune to psychology. It's got frenzy. Can give physical resistance. I'm not sure if that's just for itself. And that's basically it. Alright, so get into it. Now, something weird. I don't know what was going on. He was definitely doing this on purpose, but this guy was shooting his Lord with some of his field trebuchets in the beginning. And I wasn't sure if he was trolling or what, but when I looked at the Lord, because I was thinking there might be a reason he's doing this. I don't want to just assume he's stupid and just messing around. So I'm not sure if he was looking to get an earlier activation of this passive. It says it's enabled if you have less than 50% of health, your base hit points. So I'm not sure if that's what was going on, but either way, once I saw him doing that, I was kind of wary, like, all right, I can't tell if this guy knows what he's doing or if he's just messing around or what. So what I've done is I split my Marauders off to this side with the Spawn of Tzeentch. I'm going to run them into the woods and look to apply pressure on the field trebuchets. And I figured their reaction would probably be with cavalry over there, and they'd be keeping most of their halberds and spears and whatnot out on the field. And I figured that the Spawn would be able to do away with the trebuchet crews, and the Marauders with spears would be able to protect the Spawn of Tzeentch from cavalry in the woods. Plus, cavalry, to my understanding, do not fight as well while they're in forests. And so that's what I was kind of looking at. Now, here I started moving forward, and then I realized, okay, I'm walking right into his peasant archers. And, they don't have tons of missile damage, only 17, but these guys are with 15 armor, so they're going to get chewed apart, which they already are, getting shot up. And then these Chaos Warriors, I ended up bringing them back as well. Originally, I was going to stand on the front of the point and try to keep them off so I could hold the capture weight on there. But as soon as I saw the shooting coming in, I was like, all right, maybe it's time to back up. So you can see he got his Lord. He took about 10% of his Lord's health off or so. I never really came to a firm conclusion on what he was doing that for, but either way, got spears and Spawn in the woods. I'm watching his Knights Errant and his Knights of the Realm skirt around and kind of just trying to reposition my Marauders with spears and make sure that he can't get a big charge on the Spawn. Chaos Warriors off on point 1. He's moving forward with King Leon and field trebuchets just firing. He's got a good amount of forces up on point 3. He's got a lot more troops to deal with than me. You can see he brought 28 total. I brought 17. So as soon as I got into the match and saw the unit totals, I got a little nervous because I was like, oh man, he's got a lot to deal with, and I don't know if I have enough damage dealers and whatnot to face off with the Bretonnian horde. But either way, I caught the Knights Errant off on this side. I saw them charging around the outside of the woods. Got a blue fire off with Vilich. I saw them charging around the outside of the woods. I had these Chaos Warriors with halberds over on point 1, and then I brought them over to kind of intercept these guys so they couldn't get around the backside. It was just a one squad of spears. These Knights of the Realm he lost track of, so I'm charging in there with my spears and with my spawn. He's kind of peppering my my Chaos Warriors with halberds with these peasant bowmen with fire arrows, but either way, intercepted the Knights of the Realm with Marauders with spears, you know, Chaos Warriors charging into some spear men-at-arms. King Leon is fighting in the front lines against my Marauders. These guys are pretty worn down. Chaos Warriors on the left are holding okay. Now I brought in a Chaos War Shrine, and this is something I've been meaning to play around with. I brought one of these on one of my recent matches that I showed, and I did horribly with it. So this time I was more intentional about keeping it in the back. Got the weird spawn coming up the middle. I wanted to kind of get through this gap and get on top of the archers. And I brought Vilich in to fight with King Leon. And what I figured is that Vilich is like a decent combatant. King Leon is also, but he doesn't have too much armor piercing. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to keep an eye on the health pool and on the barrier on Vilich, and then just do what I can, you know, in dealing with his lord, because I figured he was going to just cleave through a lot of that infantry and whatnot. Now you can see on the backside, charge my Marauders into these peasant bowmen. I got the spawn on top of these battle pilgrims, and that's a really good trait for me. These are regiments of renown troops, so getting spawn on top of these sword guys that don't have anti-large or anything is pretty effective for me. You can see he's already pulling ahead in the damage value. He's got a lot more troops on the field. He's actually almost maxed. I didn't realize that at the time. So just trying to keep an eye on point 1. Point 2, luckily I was able to capture first, so I'm just holding on to that. Vilich is in here dealing with King Leon. You can see he's done a pretty good amount of damage to him, and Vilich is not being targeted by him. I think he must be on auto target. I'm not sure if he's going after the spawn, but it doesn't seem like he's attacking Vilich intentionally. Otherwise his barrier would probably be gone. Brought some pinks in from the backfield, getting some shots off on the men-at-arms with polearms, and he's got some Knights Errant running around causing problems. I felt that this guy was really being attentive to his cavalry micro, which is something that I am not so great at. So it was impressive seeing this guy, how he was using his horsemen against me. Chaos War Shrine running in these guys, just trying to slow them down a little bit. Got more Marauders on the center of this point. They're starting to flood on with their men-at-arms, but Vilich is doing well. King Leon isn't doing great. And I got pinks and more spearmen and a soul grinder coming in reinforcements. These Marauder spears got pretty beat up. They took a lot of shooting. Spawn are still in the back. They just got cleared out, but you can see they did really good work against these battle pilgrims, and so that's pretty good value for me. But I'm 2,500 behind at this point, and I was kind of getting to the point where I was almost wondering, like, I'm ahead on victory points, but should I be conceding this, because he's got over twice the amount of unit cards on the field, and he's almost doubling me in value. But I was like, all right, I'm just going to try to hold on point 2 and see what I can do here. Now you can see a lot of units are tattered. You know, a lot of the men-at-arms are beat up. King Leon is around half health. A lot of the cavalry are getting chased off, but his archers are still in the back, just firing in. His field trebuchets are doing decent work. At least I should say they're using their ammunition well. And I've got a lot of infantry, so unfortunately field trebuchets are, you know, not going to be fun for my guys. But brought in another soul grinder. This war shrine, I had issued the attack command on the Florida, what do you call them, Defenders of Fleur-de-Lis. Should have kept him on this point. I kind of lost track of that guy, especially for how slow he is. It's going to take him a little while to get back there. Only 38 speed on him. But soul grinder, you know, firing away. I was trying to make sure I was targeting their heavy cavalry with my soul grinders, and just keeping troops on here. This is something I talked about in the last replay that I lost track of again. I was trying to issue an attack command on my exalted pink horrors to shoot back into their archers and clear them out, But because of their limited range, they ended up just running into the melee with the rest of these guys. The Bretonnian cavalry looks so awesome, by the way. Knights of the Realm charging around the side. I'm not sure if he was looking to get on top of my Soul Grinder here. Chaos Warriors coming in with for reinforcements. They got a rear charge off on my Marauders of Tzeentch. And I think I used my army ability here. So this was a pretty big play for me. What is this spell called? Infernal Gateways, Armor Piercing. So when I was picking magic on Vilich, and the reason I picked Vilich was I wanted to use Tzeentch magic because I wanted blue fire to deal with cavalry, and I wanted Infernal Gateway in case there were heavy cavalry blobs. This thing has good armor piercing damage, and I wanted to be able to drop that on top of cavalry blobs in case I could cause those. There was 2 squads of cavalry here, and so I figured that was the time to use it. And it paid off pretty well. But also I figured this guy has decent armor, so he's not going to get smashed by a cavalry charge or by, a hefty lord of theirs. And, he's got decent combat stats, and, that's basically what I was looking to do. So a lot of blue fires going off this match. The Chaos War Shrine is getting surrounded by these Knights of the Realm. I didn't realize this was a Regiments of Renown, but you just saw that blue fire basically cut these guys in half because I was close range. They're clumped up, and that was just big value on Vilich. Now at this point, they are getting on to point 1 and starting to take that from me. And I was kind of having flashbacks of playing Nurgle where you're just like struggling to get around the field and get presence on the points. But just trying to, deal away with these cavalry. The Soul Grinder's pretty quick, so if I can get him to chase these guys off, he can get over here, fight off these Battle Pilgrims and try to win point 1 back. Cavalry still charging around. Soul Grinders gets a shot off and clears off a couple models there. They're charging right into these Marauders with spears, which charging into the front of these guys probably isn't great, but, And at this point, I didn't notice this during the match, but this guy has still all 4 of these squads up here. If he had brought these down, he probably would have pushed me even further back at this point. But I'm not sure if he forgot about these guys or if he just thought that he was going to hold up on this area in case I sent in any powerful units up on the top area. Because, a strong squad of infantry could probably clear through at least 2 of these squads, maybe more of them. So maybe he was just trying to keep that from any of my reinforcements taking over. So Knights of the Realm charging downhill. Chaos War Shrine and Vilich are kind of really just carrying things, sitting on this point, providing that leadership buff. Chaos War Shrine, I forget what this was providing. So yeah, leadership and spell mastery for. Okay, I wonder if that's why the blue fire was doing so much work. I didn't realize that this thing gave spell mastery as well, but it's got encourage as well. So they're still shooting in with their archers. Good amount of men-at-arms charging in. They've got the Defenders of Fleur-de-Lis resummoned, and again, look at the gold value. I'm just getting smashed. Luckily, I was able to get the Soul Grinder and these Chaos Warriors over back on a point 1 and was able to stop the Holy Wardens of La Maisontal. I guess these Battle Pilgrims off of point 1. Army ability going down on the Knights of Fleur-de-Lis. Luckily, these guys don't have any kind of spell resistance or whatever. Actually, that's one thing that I've been trying to keep an eye on, is looking around to see what kind of physical resist and spell resist different units have. There's so many different units in this game. Probably thousands of units in this game. Maybe I'm exaggerating there, but there's like 23 different factions, and each one of them has a pretty massive roster. So charging in here with the Chaos Warriors with halberds, really just looking to get capture weight on here. They've taken point 2 from me. And at this point, I really just need to try to hold on to capture points because I'm so far behind. I'm like, 3,000 behind in gold value, and still feeling pretty nervous about where this match is going. Luckily, I really think that this War Shrine was a pretty interesting tech to bring, because just being able to keep the Marauders and the Chaos Warriors in battle for a little bit longer is kind of an interesting mechanic that I hadn't really played around with successfully before. Soul Grinders going after these Knights of the Realm, try to intercept them with the weird spawn, kind of resummon these guys because they were fought off in the beginning. But he saw that coming, he repositioned his Knights of the Realm, and still leaving these guys up on the hillside. But take a quick look here. I got some Marauders in the back there, but they got sandwiched by these nice errant and the spearmen at arms, so they're just gonna get crushed away. Luckily, brought in the Soul Grinder, and that looks awesome. Soul Grinder coming in to reinforce these guys. I figured getting a rear charge on these regiments of renowned cavalry would be good value. Dealing away with these men-at-arms with polearms. Now they've got their peasant bowmen up on this hillside. That's a really good shooting angle for them. Just looking straight down onto this point, which is where all the combat is going on, and getting those debuffs on top of my troops is pretty good for them. Vilich is in here still doing work, fighting against the Grail Relic, or Grail Relic. I don't even know how you pronounce that. Grail Relic? Whatever the case. War Shrine's just fumbling around in the back, trying to keep that thing alive. Vilich is still over half health, I'd say. Marauder Spearmen piling in to get on top of these men-at-arms, and closing in on victory here. For as far as I am behind them, I'm still over 3,000 behind in value, almost 4,000 behind in value. I'm just being able to keep capture weight on top of these points. I left a squad of Chaos Warriors with halberds over here because I didn't want them to be able to take this away with cavalry. And I figured I had enough troops on this point right now that I didn't need to panic and run over here because as long as I'm holding at least 1 point, I'm pretty good. So cavalry's still charging around in the backfield, looking to get on top of these exalted pink horrors. I really was trying to get some shooting in there on the occasion. There was a couple of times I summoned in exalted pinks, and I brought in the regiments of renown of them at some point. I forget what they're called, but just could not get them in an effective position. The cavalry were just wreaking havoc, and I was having trouble moving around my anti-large troops to protect them. So something to keep an eye on. I almost wonder if I should have, instead of getting these exalted pinks, if I should have brought screamers instead, which are cheaper and probably would have done better in this matchup. So again, getting close on the victory points marker. And I'm sure my opponent sees that because he's charging in here. And I guess he didn't, I'm not sure if he didn't issue an attack command or if he was just trying to get on this point and see if I wouldn't notice. Field trebuchets have been shooting in here, firing in on my Chaos Warriors. But even with the armor piercing, my guys are holding up pretty well. Peasant archers and whatnot still shooting in. He still hasn't moved these guys downhill. I partially feel that he kind of forgot about these guys. Maybe he was a newer player. He's still whooping me on the gold value, but the victory points is ultimately what matters, and I'll just fast forward this because I know what happens, and I'm sure anyone watching understands this is going to end in a victory. So well played to my opponent. He really out-traded me pretty well, but luckily I was able to sit on top of those points and just get the victory points there. And yeah, let's take a look at the damage values and whatnot. So 2,000 plus on Vilich. Soul Grinder didn't do great. Chaos, or this is the weird spawn, did alright, but I think they cost 1,300. No, standard spawn didn't do great. Chaos Warriors with halberds didn't do good, neither did the Marauders. This squad did alright. Soul Grinder didn't do good. Exalted Pinks did horrible. War Shrine did alright. But for the War Shrine, the gold value isn't really so much of what you're looking at. It provides a buff to other units, so you're never going to get good gold value on that thing, from my understanding. Halberds did alright. Marauders did alright. So honestly, nothing really on my roster stood out. I think if I brought Screamers, I would have done much better with the trading. And maybe if I brought some Furies as well to jump on top of the Peasants or the Field Trebuchets, that could have been good. So just something to look at for the next time I'm matched up against Bretonnia. For my opponent, King Leon didn't do good. I think he was issuing a lot of attack commands on this guy to my infantry, and that's why he wasn't getting good value. Field Trebuchets didn't do too much. I'm not sure what they cost, so for all I know, this was an effective use of them, but I would imagine they're more than 600 or 800. Grail Relic, just a support unit, so gold value doesn't matter too much. Knights of the Realm didn't do great. The Peasant Archers did a decent amount of work. These guys didn't really get engaged much because I think they were sitting up on point 3. Nothing too special on the Men-at-Arms. Decent values on some of them. Knights of the Realm didn't do great. Pegasus Knights never came into play. Questing Knights, not great. Knights of the Realm. Yeah, really nothing special, but the Peasant, it seemed like the Peasant Bowman did the most work out of his whole roster. Anyways, well played to my opponent, and I will see you on the next one.